And we were asking each other questions of like, do you have this? Do you have chapstick? What shoes are you wearing? And it was this cool moment because I will say I'm sitting next to like an Olympian and Bex Gentry. And in that moment, they had just as many panic questions as I did. And I'm like, oh, we're all in this together. This is going to be good.
1, 2, 3, 4.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to episode 142 of the On the Runs podcast. We hope everyone, especially here in New England, has been staying warm as the temps have not been above freezing for days. What a week it's been for Monday Night Media. The LEG show premiered on Monday. We had Susie Chan on the pod, and today we have another amazing guest from the Great World Race. We can't wait for you to hear from her, but first, I must say hello to my amazing rock star of a co-host coming from her spare bedroom and studio, 6-star Erica. What's up?
What's up, buddy? You sound like you're back to your old self. That was so full of oomph. You got it back.
I feel good. I feel good. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, my
good.
voice is back. Like everything's feeling normal again.
You sound better. Mm-hmm.
Maybe I'll start running again, but I'll tell you what. I'm not going to go freaking running in this weather, okay? I can deal with cold temperatures, but it hasn't been above like 25 for days. Not only that, it's so freaking windy, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like trash cans are all over the street. They're everywhere. It's just you can hear the wind. You feel like the house is going to fall down.
Right?
It's been crazy the last few days.
Pretty sure the temps around here have been colder than Antarctica. Honestly, when they were doing 777, it was like 20 degrees, and it's 20 maximum here.
It was
but with
5
the wind
degrees, but it felt like 20 in the sun, and it felt like negative 20 in the wind.
Yeah,
we've had some of that wind.
All right,
here.
that's pretty fair.
Yeah. Let's not discredit them.
This morning it said feels like -1, and I'm like,
I know.
Oh, I just want to live in this bed forever.
And I had to be outside today for part of work. Is like we have this work van, and it's this fancy van with like a wrap and everything, and it was so cold. Like this big power supply in the back that powers all these cameras we use is like bone dry dead. That's how cold it is, and we can't get it to power up because it's so cold, and we can't garage the van. So yeah, I was outside taking my gloves off. My fingers were freezing. I putting the gloves back on, running in and outside. That's how cold it's been. That's how cold it's been. But I hope everyone's staying warm. I mean, I'm staying warm in this comfy On the Runs hoodie.
I mean, I'm not wearing the On the Runs hoodie. I have my Run New Hampshire hoodie on, but that one is a good staple in my house.
Yes, it is. How are you? It's Thursday. Bonus episode this week. Maybe we do more of these. Like I was like, hey, I'm just breaking this news to you, Erica. We're going to do 2 episodes this week. You're like, okay. Down.
We got to start getting paid for this, man.
Hey.
No, it's still a fun hobby. We got this.
We recorded yesterday with another guest with the Great Road Race. Her episode will be dropping soon. Let's just talk about it. It's Mary Morgan. Okay.
Mary Morgan, not just Mary.
Yeah.
Mary Morgan. Well,
we learned that too. Her name isn't Mary. Her name's Mary Morgan. That's her first name. I was blown away. That's for when we have her on with the Tros or whatever when we do that. But
definitely, yep.
I just sent you her song because she found the YouTube version, the live version. Did you watch all 11 minutes?
So I did not watch the video, but I did find it on Spotify, so I can add it to our Spotify playlist.
The live version?
Yes. It's technically a podcast. It's 12 minutes long. So apologies if there is a random ad that's in the middle or in the beginning of it, but it is so powerful. Oh, that song is just, it gives me
I'm not going to give it away, but I'm going to give some of you creepers and stalkers a clue. If you go all the way back a couple years ago in the podcast to when we had the 5K for Jay, I made a reel. And at the time, I was so proud of this reel. It was like my proudest moment ever making a reel with like 80 photos. It's one of those reels where the photos go
super fast. Yep.
Right? Super fast. It's that song, but it's like a 12-minute version of that song. It was sick.
And
it was so
it's
sick.
incredible. And if you're a book/movie nerd like myself, if you know the movie Divergent, it's also in that. So
Okay. Those are your clues. Those are your clues. In a couple weeks.
I get many vibes from it.
Yeah, those are your clues. In a couple weeks, it will be dropping, guys. Mary Morgan. We're going to get more of these 777 guests. We have another one for you today. But before we get to our amazing guest today, Hillary Kupish, she's a rock star.
Oh, yeah.
We need to talk a little bit about the Ali G show because it dropped and you finally got to hear the Ali G show. What do you think?
For you, Ali. Oh, my gosh. I love how she calls they're not episodes, they're tracks. And I think that's fantastic.
Isn't it
totally
great?
Fits the aesthetic. You know what? I just love that we can see her. Like, it's on Spotify, the video.
Yes.
We can see her. And that logo that you guys designed is just so beautiful.
Got to give that credit to Ali G. Ali G,
amazing job.
We played around, and then all of a sudden, one day, like weeks later, we had the logo.
Oh, yeah.
And then weeks later, she's like, so I made a change. Tell me what you think. And she was worried I wouldn't like it.
So eye-catching.
Yeah.
I love it.
It's a great
then
logo.
you and Neil just had such a great rapport. Slam dunk. Dunk.
She was great. I love her little 30-second intro. I wasn't expecting that when she did the intro. I'm like, yeah, do like a 3-4 minute intro. Talk to the people. Say like Happy New Year, whatever. And then it came in and I was like, did you do it? Because it's only total intro and outro 60 seconds. And then I listened to it and the way it worked with the music and then transitioned right into the episode and then transitioned out. I was like, I love this, Ali.
She's a natural. This is going to take off.
Yeah. So for any of you who don't know, like, Ali, we're starting Monday Night Media, and Ali's one of the people we brought on to have a podcast. And so Ali does all her recordings on her own, and then I take the recordings, I edit it, I mix the music and everything, and I'm having a ton of fun doing this. I want to do more of this. It was so cool. It was. I actually haven't listened yet, like on Spotify, but I listened probably 3 times while editing and then made sure it sounded good later.
Gotcha.
Because it's Monday. It was Monday and all my other podcasts I listened to that are unrelated to running come out. So
understandable. Well, once you eventually get to it, you're going to love it.
But you love the tracks. That was her. That was her thinking too.
It's so unique. I've never thought of it like that before, but that's exactly what it is. And it totally fits
especially with a music-based podcast, like a music and running mix. So it's funny, like Ali and I will be talking in the middle of the night. Like it could even be 1 a.m. sometimes. It's just like you have an idea, you have a thought. It's like boom, 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 boom. What do you think?
Nice.
And then we're both like, what are you doing up?
I should ask you that, but usually you're podcasting of some sort, editing, yada yada.
True. Yeah, I teased that last episode though, so I'm glad you love tracks. We also thought like it's probably not going to be seasons. It's probably just going to be like a weekly show.
Sure.
The goal is weekly, but at the start we'll see. It might be like 3 times a month. But I said,
That's
you know
still
what we could
great.
do if it was seasons instead of a season, it could be an album.
I love that.
Yeah.
Get a cassette tape with an A side and a B side.
Yeah. So many cool things you could do. Ali has a vision. She has a deep list right now of people she wants, people I've never heard of, and she's telling me about them. I'm like, that sounds great. Sounds great. It all sounds great. But the Ali G show and then Susie Chan was so cool.
What a week. What a week so far. And then our guest this week is just going to blow it out of the water again. She was fantastic when we went on the pod with her. Like, wow. I mean, she was so open too about a lot of personal things, and we could have probably talked to her for another 3 hours, but we had a place to be or another recording to do. She had like a party to go to. I saw her story like 20 minutes after we recorded. She got ready really quick and all dressed up and everything. And well, she was like, beautiful as it is. Like,
yeah. But we have the overall winner of the Great World Race, and she's super humble about it. She wasn't expecting it. She's going to tell you all about it. She was amazing. Erica, we have Hillary Kupish on the pod.
And I was so excited to get to talk to her. Honestly, I'm still not over the 777 content. The more we can get, the happier you're going to make me, dude. So
we're getting more because more of them are reaching out to me. And I'm like,
which
yes.
Makes me so happy. Everybody has their own individual take on this race. So just hearing it from all different sides has been so fascinating. So here we go.
Here we go, baby. Are you ready, guys? Enjoy Hillary Kupish on the On the Runs podcast. and we'll see you on the other side. Our next guest on the pod is an absolute badass mom who just ran 7 marathons in 7 continents in 7 days. She's from the West Coast in Bend, Oregon, and she's been just blowing up all over the social media lately. And we are so lucky and fortunate to have her on the podcast, Hillary Kupish. Welcome to the On the Runs pod. What's up, Hillary?
Thank you so much. God, I love podcast introductions. It makes you feel really special.
Eric has a special knack for nailing the intro, so he's very good at those.
That one I did blind. I looked right at the camera and I was guessing everything. And I knew one thing about you though. You are a badass mom because you run really fast and you have 2 very young kids, a 3 and a 6-year-old. And that's freaking impressive, Hillary.
Well, thank you. I mean, just doing what I can. I mean, you have 2 3-year-old twins. So I found out before we started here. So that is also very badass. So I think there's a lot of badass people, but I do think, that there's something important to that. I want to show up for my kids in a certain way. And I think running's a big part of it, but we'll talk more about that.
Yeah, I think it's
being
huge.
A great role model. I absolutely think so, especially after the incredible feat that you just completed with running the 7 marathons in 7 days over the 7 continents with the great world race. And
what I didn't
am just
mention,
so happy to have you here.
And what I forgot to mention actually was that she won the whole thing.
Oh yeah, that happened.
Not a big deal.
I mean, we can get into that. There's just every day there's things that can happen. There's just so many incredible athletes. We're all just kind of living on the edge and pushing ourselves to our limits. And there's a little bit of a gamble that goes into each day. But I'm very grateful, and I'm really proud of how I was able to show up and how my body showed up. And yeah, it was a wild thing. For anybody that's interested, let's do it.
We're definitely interested.
Ooh, so maybe again. We'll get there. But first, let's get to know you, actually, Hillary, because besides knowing you're a really fast runner and a badass mother, we don't know anything else about you. You're from Bend, Oregon. Tell us a little bit about Hillary.
Yeah, so I currently am in Bend, Oregon. I was born in Phoenix, Arizona. Grew up in the Portland area, actually. So more of traditional Pacific Northwest, where people think of a lot of rain and gray, et cetera. I've chosen to live now in Bend, Oregon, which is beautiful, a lot of sunshine. It's high desert, so similar to kind of like a Boulder type area. But I'm a brand strategist full-time. I worked actually the past almost 10 years at Nike doing all different types of experience and strategy work there. And as you mentioned, mom of 2. And in between all those things, I like to run a lot and be outside.
Hillary, what does it mean? Oh, yeah. I was just going to ask, what does it mean to be a brand strategist? Especially if
we might be interested actually as we're growing a thing here.
I know, right?
Strategy? Yeah. So I will say that's a little bit of a generalized term. One of the things that throughout my time at Nike, I think I was there for 9+ years, and I think I held officially 7 different roles. And one of the things, and some of that was through a reorg, some of that was through climbing and through promotion. Some of it was just lateral moves. It was just, there was a lot of change happening through my time there. And one of the things I will say is I'm a generalist by trade, and strategy is a really great general term that I can use. And I've done different types of it. I work a lot with growth marketing strategy, which is way more specific to how you used, paid media essentially to promote your brand. I've done a lot of experience design strategy, which is a little bit more in the user experience space or in a physical space. And then brand strategy is kind of sits above all that. And it's the idea of getting really down to the core of what you're doing, why you're doing it, who your customer is, and how you're showing up for them. So in a way, I think the reason why I like to, I do a lot of different types and have done a lot of different types, but why I'm really passionate about brand strategy is because it probably falls a little bit more closely in aligned to some of my core values. I'm a highly relational person. I really have spent a lot of time knowing what my values are, what integrity means to me. And I love working with companies that are also really thoughtful about that, because it creates a lot of longevity, right? You can throw money, marketing dollars in campaigns and do things and be looking at that next week and 3 months and 6 months and 9 months, and you're kind of on this hamster wheel.
You get more invested though when you align yourself with the company's values and such.
Yeah. So it's like you got to have, in my mind, you got to have both in a perfect world. And so brand strategy is a really cool way to be thinking a little bit more long-term, a little bit more strategically, and really, getting to the heart of what you're trying to push forward. So, there's a lot of fun creative stuff that goes into that as well. And that's part of the background.
Now, do you work for yourself?
Yes. So I work for myself, and I also work with a collective called Apiary. They are a growth marketing collective. So I do a lot of my longer term retainer projects through them. I am not taking on additional personal projects right now, given the amount of workload I have. But yeah, I mean, I have people reached out. LinkedIn is a great way to connect, but at least for this season, trying to be very mindful about how many hours I put into, the corporate work bucket, because there's a lot of fun projects ahead.
One of the questions I always love to ask someone if I'm talking to them, like an entrepreneur, like you worked for Nike for 9-something years, and it takes a lot of guts sometimes to leave a safe job per se that has insurance and benefits and everything to work for yourself. Like what gave you that confidence to do that at the time whenever you made this decision and that move?
Yeah, that's a great question. I'm going to give a big shout out to my past executive coach, Lucy Reynolds, who I could talk about for days. But I'd done some work with her actually while I was at Nike and thinking about how I want to be, the type of leader I want to be, the type of positions I want to be in. And one of the things that resonated through that process was really thinking through like what I want to do longer term, what my values are, how I want to be with my kids, family, et cetera. During this process, I had actually already moved to Bend, Oregon. And for those of you that know, Nike's headquarters is in Beaverton, Oregon, which is about 3.5, 4 hours north. So I had been doing the COVID commute, like after COVID, doing a commute. And it was, I'd drive up on Tuesday mornings at 5:30 a.m., get there by my 9 o'clock meetings, stay there for 2 nights. Luckily, my parents live up there. So I'd stay with my parents. The kids would be with their dad, and I'd come back Thursday night. And that took a really long toll. That was about 3 years of making that happen and doing the half remote, half on campus life. There came to be a point where Nike decided, we want you in office 4 days a week, and here's what it comes with. And that absolutely didn't work for me. So it was a very, I think I'd already been looking at transitioning and kind of recognizing like this is taking a toll, but I don't think it was until I had to, make the very kind of serious decision of like, I'm going to step out to the unknown. To your point, it was especially being like a single income household, 2 kids, daycare's expensive, my mortgage, there was all these things. And I was so used to the package that came with working for a corporation. Mm-hmm. But ultimately it's just like, I had to kind of step out in faith and trust. And I had built over the course of time, a really incredible, I'll call it like board of advisors unofficially, of people in my life that really spoke into where my skills were able to make introductions. And it was like a couple months of transition hustle, trying on different things, and ultimately falling into some really stable retainers, and then being able to take on some fun stuff as well. And so this has only been like, 6-9 months of this sort of thing. So I'm still new in this space.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't believe like this last year has been an absolute friggin' whirlwind.
And if I did my homework right, like you decided to do the Great Road Race in August.
Your homework,
so
yeah.
It's been a crazy
that just
last
adds
6
to the
months
whirlwind.
for you.
I don't think there's any other way to put it.
Yeah, that was just like, and yeah, why not layer something else on top of it? I mean,
right.
I can get into like the how and why of that, but sometimes it's just like you need something spicy to take on, I guess.
There you go.
So Hillary, we know what kind of daily life you've got going on, but what began your running journey? Like what started your love for running? And I mean, to be honest, how did you become so good at it? Where'd the speed come from? I'm so excited to hear the origin story.
Yeah, I mean, when people say things like that, I'm like, what speed? Like, I'm not sure what we're talking about.
It's natural.
I think serious imposter syndrome there. No, I mean, my backstory is like, I was a little kid. I like love 2 things. I love art and I love sports. Mm-hmm. And been big threads through my life. I grew up playing soccer, actually. So that was kind of like my first love. I was a super shy kid, like painfully shy. And it was probably the one area in my life where I like stepped out and was a little bit spicy with things. However, after I think it was like my playing through middle school, I remember like I got recruited onto a team, aged up, and like was playing with these girls that were older, and I was already a year younger. And it was one of those moments of like social, probably anxiety and pressure to the point of like, I can't do this. These like, some of these girls are mean. Like, I don't, my like sensitive little shy self did not thrive in that environment. And I like hung up my shoes, which was a big deal for me. Cause I remember, I was thinking about this today. I remember having a conversation with my dad around that time. And he was like, yeah, making some joke about like paying for you 3 kids through college. And I was like, well, Dad, you don't have to pay for me. I'll get a scholarship for soccer. And I said it so confidently, like, of course I will. And then quit like less than a year later. That said, I took a year off my freshman year, didn't know what I wanted to do. I had a neighbor that ran cross country. And I was like, oh, well, I want to be doing something. And I missed being on a team. I loved sport. I loved moving. And so I was like, I'll try it. This isn't the story where I like become a great cross country athlete. This is the story where I take the 3rd seat on the varsity team and happily sat there without trying, making my coach furious because I like just wanted to be good enough to like sit on varsity, but like did not give a flying, like did not care. And I think I was one of those athletes that was honestly pretty frustrating. I think he saw something in me that I didn't. And I, at that point, like probably just like didn't want to work hard, didn't want to suffer. And it was social, but it did something in me and maybe a little bit of confidence. And so it really wasn't until then, like ran for 2 years in high school, didn't run my senior year for different reasons, went on to college, dabbled maybe. And it really wasn't until I think I was 25 when I ran my first marathon. Maybe 24. It was the Hawaii Oceanfront Marathon, which is very humid. I was completely undertrained. I had run 18 miles beforehand and I like suffered through, chafed terribly.
So this was not the ideal marathon sequence that you were hoping for. It was just kind of miserable for you.
I mean, it was just one of those things that it was beautiful though, right? And it's like, you just sign up and do it. And I think that's like when people like, it's like one of those things where I'm like, yeah, I'm kind of glad I didn't overthink it. I'm just like, yeah, why not? Like, let's get after it. And then I think through the course of a few years, ran a few more marathons. I will say that probably like maybe the turning point where like running became more of a thing was that when I started working at Nike. I fell into a job there. And when I fell in, you guys may know, I was actually in the same department as she is a professional ultra runner named Amanda Basham. And this was before she was a pro. And we worked side by side. And I remember for the first time hearing about freaking ultra running. And I was like, you're doing what? And her and the other son, Dave, they're like, he's doing a 100-miler coming up. She's doing like crushing these 50Ks. And I'm like, these are things that people do. And it got me really interested and intrigued and like reinvigorated. And like, there's a group of kind of faster women on campus that I would sometimes tag along with. Keely Henninger, who is also now a pro, was at Nike at the same time. And we ran together for a little bit. Like I had probably a couple good years of like maybe like I qualified for Boston. I ran Boston, ran a handful of marathons. I then like got really into my career, had my first kid in 2018 and probably like fell off for a few years for different reasons. I mean, I like dabble, but like life reasons, right? I was like investing a little bit more in my career. Definitely, kind of in a marriage that was very tough, quite frankly, and, figuring out how to have a kid. And it wasn't until actually my second child in 2020 moved to Bend, 2021 had another kid. 6 months after she was born, my husband left. And we both played our parts in that. But it was just it was a huge, huge turning point for me in my life more generally, but absolutely with running. I really used that moment, and I could get into all the like things behind it to say like, I need to figure out like who I am, what I stand for, what I believe in, what I want to do with my life. like I had lost so much of myself over the course of those 10 years. And, running for the first time ever became something that was consistent. I mean, I'd run marathons, but like I never followed a training plan. Like really?
Yep.
I never had a coach. I never did anything in a really consistent way. And I would say like the last 3-ish years since then have been like, I'm going to get a coach. I've had 2 different coaches. They've been friggin' phenomenal. Like you want to be consistent. You want to start learning how to run well, like start working with a coach. And I don't work with one right now, and that's okay. Like they can play a role in a season, but it's with those that have kind of made me just be more consistent and dive in and sign up for bigger things. So that was a very long-winded answer. I'm like, not it
was a great answer.
Well,
I don't even think I told you a rule is spare no details.
I did see that. And I saw it. So I was like, they just want me to like word vomit and they can edit things out.
I mean, that's a good way to put it, but we love all the details, the stories behind the reasons. I mean, you're welcome to share whatever you want with us, basically. So, but I'm glad that running did play a bigger role in helping you rediscover yourself. Because I understand how hard it can be just trying to pivot from relationships and jobs and having children. And it can just be, I don't know, mind bending, trying to find the new normal.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think for me, and other people, if this resonates with anyone and if it's helpful, I think what I realized in the way I was brought up and in my marriage, like I really was the type of person that was like, I was trying to make everyone else comfortable. I was trying to do the thing to like fly under the radar, to be the person that people wanted me to be. So everyone felt safe. And so it wasn't chaotic. I had an older brother that was a rebel and a younger sister that was wild. And I was kind of the middle child. So I'm just like, I'm just going to like stay under the radar here. And I took that into my life. And what the sad thing about that is, and I shouldn't, maybe sad's not the right word, but looking back, there was so much of me that I really set to the side to nurture what I felt like other people needed versus what lit me up. And it's been a really cool process over the past few years to figure out the things that I love and that I don't love, what I do with vacations, what I do with my free time, what kind of people are in my life. And I might even present differently these days. But running's been a hugely empowering part of that.
Wonderful.
I love to hear that. That's amazing to hear. So you said you decide how to use your time and your vacation time. So are you the type who will go on vacation to the beach, or are you the one who will be like, I'm going to go on a runcation? Because I think you just went on one.
Oh yeah. Are we talking like relaxing or see everything all at once?
Yeah. Yes. I believe in the beauty of both. But yeah, I'm for sure the runcation type. I want my ideal day, any day, involves some sort of beautiful outside, semi-intense movement followed by beautiful food, maybe a little rest and play. Like whether that be mountains, beach.
That's the best of both worlds right there.
You name it. Yeah. I mean, I'm like, yes to both. I want it all.
I'm down for that.
That's, you can frame it up that way. I'll give you an example. Like when I was, after getting divorced, I was thinking, I'm like, I need to go on vacation this year. I want to do it for me. What do I actually want to do? Cause in our relationship, we had kind of done the same sort of things. Cause what they had needed was like more structure and like the same spot in Hawaii or like this kind of thing, which was great in its own right. But I was like, I get antsy and I want to see the world. And I'm like, I haven't been to Iceland. I would love to go to Iceland. I've never been backpacking hut to hut. That sounds amazing. I have 2 girlfriends here that are like down, let's go. And so we did a backpacking trip, 4 days, hut to hut. If you've never been to Iceland and done that, like, please go. Like it is
adding it to my list as we speak.
Literally, it's like a newborn planet. It is so beautiful. And every day the landscape changes in such close proximity. You could probably run the whole thing in a day if you wanted to, but the hut and the hiking is really fun. And so you just have this beautiful, and then there's all this like thermal, like activities. So there's hot springs and there's incredible food in the city. Like Reykjavik is really cool. Like it's not known for it. Like Iceland is not known for great food, but there's a lot of like great little spots you can find. And I mean, and for me, like that was it. Like that's exactly what I want to do. Like trek, see something new, like feast my eyes on like nature, be out in the wild, and also like have a little bit of like luxe downtime. And for me, like I think even with like the 7, like when you're working when you have built your life so that you have so many moving parts that you're so often shepherding, whether that be your children or your animals or your home or your teams or your clients, there's a lot of management. There's a lot of mental activity that goes into the forethought, into planning, to making sure everything is arranged for the next day and thinking so far ahead. And for me, the beauty about these kind of trips is like you can plan it enough so that by the time you're there, you just show up. And all you have to do is be in that present moment. And all you have to do is like take it in and like exert yourself. And that's like one of my most like core and favorite places to be. And that's why like the 7 during the Great World Race was like a running vacation. Like I didn't even have to think of like, I was handed a plane ticket and they pointed where like, here's where you go. Like, here's food, feed yourself. Like all you have to do is like run 3.5 hours a day and like box checked next country. So it was an absolute treat in that regard.
That's
awesome.
My ideal thing is somebody like just I'll go somewhere. You tell me where to be, when, how I get there, just all the details, takes the guesswork out, makes it more fun. And it's just an easy thing. I mean, nothing's easy about the running part, but at least you have all the logistics taken care of and you're ready to go.
That was Erica a year ago when we went to Peloton Studios for the first time. We got invited to go for a bike ride with Matt Wilpers, and she's just like, "Tell me, like, we'll pick her up. Tell me what time." We took care of everything else, and if Bex is listening right now, she'll be a little disappointed because Erica had the chance to go, but it was by herself, and she goes, "I don't know. Can you come with me and plan it for me?"
No,
and I was like, "We're gonna go later next year. We'll figure it out." But
we'll go back together. I'll go with you.
Yes, please.
We would love to, and it would have to be a Bex run, and maybe we can rent out the whole studio. But I also believe you are a big Peloton person long before this. Erica is as well. I am, but Erica's like 10,000 day streaker right now. So the 3 of us are, but the 2 of you
Not
especially.
for Peloton. I've been doing it since May of 2020. So 2020 was, chaos all over the place, and I had to have some structure, and I picked Peloton. So I've been going strong with it. I think I have like a 220 something week streak, but I don't have a consecutive day, so can't give me that much credit.
I mean, I will still applaud that. Mine, I don't know what my streak is, but it's not that long. I mean, I think the 7-7 probably screwed some things out.
Well, you have a very good excuse. I would have picked that too, so no worries.
Yeah, no, but I'm with you. I love Peloton. And actually, so I started with the tread. Which is like a weird entryway. I do have the bike now too, but yeah, and that was in 2018 because when I had my son, I remember being like, I was fortunate to have a longer maternity leave, and I was like, how do I move?
Yeah,
with like having to. Like he's napping, like how do I use this time? And we did a lot of stroller running and stuff too, but it was the first time I had made like a big investment. And I never turned back. And I used to hate the treadmill. I used to absolutely hate the treadmill, never would run inside. I have the nice one with like the big, it's like the Tread Plus or whatever.
Oh, I hate you. Can I have it too? Can I get one?
Yeah, when there was like recalls back in the day, I was like, there's no way.
I'm not giving it up.
I
would have gotten that if I had enough ceiling space in my basement, but I didn't have the room for it.
It's killer. It's so good. And so, yeah, I'm a big fan.
I think, though, that it was a Peloton run you took in August that got you to pull the trigger for the Great World Race. Tell me about that.
Yeah, cool. You're absolutely right. So I had been targeted somewhere. So like, good job, David, for like whatever social media shenanigans you were pulling. Cause I saw it and I was like, that looks incredible. Also, but I had all of the, like the self-doubts of like, only people that are sponsored do that, or, professional athletes or people that are super wealthy or like all these different things. But I'm like, what a wild trip that would be. And part of the reason why I was so attracted to it, one is like, I know marathon distance well, like I can run a marathon. I also was like, I love relays. I love ultra relays. Cascade Lakes is one out here. Hood to Coast, I've done a handful. And like in my mind, it's like adult summer camp. And I'm like, how cool would it be to be out in like all these different places? But I was like, yeah, that's not in the cards. And then I'm running one day and I'm like, I can't remember what it was, but it was smoky out. So I had like my air purifier in my garage with my fan going because you can't run outside when it's bad smoke here. And I was running and Bex was talking and she's like, had announced, I think she had already announced it, but it was like, she was talking about that she was doing it. It's like, damn it. This is not leaving me alone. And it was one of those things where I'm like, okay, why? What is the pull here? And, I think sometimes in life there are pulls that you can't explain. And at least in my experience, and it's just a gut knowing of like, you need to do this. And I don't know what it was about that race. And maybe part of like seeing Bex doing it was also like a validation that it wasn't a scam.
That's always a good sign.
When I first looked at it, I was like, I don't know if this is real. Is this going to be like, what is that thing that happened in the desert, like fire something, where it's like all these celebrities?
Oh, the Fire Fest? Are you talking about the concert thing?
Literally, that's what I thought. I'm like, am I going to show up in Cape Town and be like stranded and like nowhere with no plane? So it's a real thing for anybody that's questioning. But that's when I started like actually assessing, and I shared this on the New York Roadrunners podcast. But I think the really important thing for me, or like the shift, was like I started going through all the reasons why not, like the expense, the amount of I'd have to be so dialed on my sleep. I only had 3 months. My training would have to be spot on. I'd have to be really, really smart about it. I'd have to be really diligent about my kids' schedule and when I'm getting runs in, and my nutrition, yada yada. I like had this list, and I was like, God, I already want to be better about my budget. I want to be more disciplined about sleep. I want to like be really good about scheduling and managing all of my time. And all these whys were actually like, okay, I can do all those things and run this incredible race. Like, like my why nots became my why.
Okay.
And I'm happy to say that. And like it built some really strong habits, like in the process of being able to say yes and go, which was a pretty wild shift. But yeah, so you can thank Bex. I mean, I will give credit to her. She was the final like validation that got me to get on a call with David.
That is too cool. I mean, I know that whenever we talk about anything, our phones are always listening, and then all of a sudden you see ads pop up, and you're like, how do you know? Like, I talked about this 2 minutes
Flying
ago.
Pig Marathon ad right now, Erica.
I mean, that's one of them. But like, they just show up places. But once you get that idea in your head, I know how difficult it is to stop. And that's one of the reasons why I ran my first 100-miler in 2023, just because I could not get the idea out of my head. It would just keep coming back. And like you said, your why nots turn into your whys. Like, what's stopping me? What's really stopping me? Fear. I mean, money is always doesn't matter. But it's just talking yourself into it and trying to make it a good idea. It may not always be the good idea, but you're like, make your why not your why.
Yeah. Along those lines, I heard this quote recently and I just like keep going back to it. And it was this, stop worrying about making the right decision and start making the decision right.
Oh.
And I think for like anything, whether it's a race, whether it's a goal, whether it's a commitment to family, it's like, or buying a new house, whatever it is, there's never going to be a perfect decision. And I think, at least I know for me and in my line of work, there's a lot of analysis, right? Always trying to like hedge our bets to make sure we're making the right decision, the right move, the right investment. And sometimes I feel like we've gotten so out of tune with our own gut that, we almost like rationalize our way out of really good things. Maybe I'm speaking to myself, and I'm speaking to myself right now, because I am trying to be a little bit more in tune with like, what is the pull? What do I need to say yes to? And instead of focusing on like, what's going to be perfect and when the perfect time is, because there's never a perfect time, like, how do I just make the decision right?
That is true. Oh man. So once you made this decision, was it all systems go? Like, how did you really plan out what you were going to do? Were you at a good base for the marathon running parts at least, and everything else just kind of worked its way into place?
You already training for another marathon?
Yeah. So I had a good base, and I'd run a marathon in the spring. I'd run the Bend Marathon. It actually did not go well. It
Oh,
was it was like one of my darkest mental marathons. It was.
that can actually be helpful though, because
Yeah.
you know what kind of place your mind can go to, so you can
Yeah,
work your way out of it.
absolutely. No,
Mm.
absolutely. It's, you have to have those bad races to really appreciate the good ones. And
Yes.
so I had that had that going for me.
Oh.
And then I had already started like I wouldn't say I had like I did not have high mileage, but I had some training down heading into, I had gotten into New York.
Oh,
And I
okay.
had signed like the day before the New York Marathon lottery closed. I was like, I'm going to throw my name in, whatever. I got in. And I was like astonished because I think only like 4% of all the overall entrants
It's a
like got
very
in.
slim chance to get into that.
Yeah.
But
And
good
I
for
was
you.
like, hell yeah, like let's go. And so it was
Mhm.
already geared up for New York. And that was one of the interesting complexities with this because New York was about 10 days before the start of this.
Right.
And so when I talked to David, I was like, hey, so this is what I'm doing. Would you really recommend against it? And he was like, no. Just like train for your fast marathon. You'll finish the 7. And I was like, okay. And then, as I started training, I was like, I can run a fast marathon anytime when I'm going to get the chance to run 7. And so
Yeah.
I did switch up my training, and I'd gone through and I have like my Roadrunners Club of America. Wow, I can't even say it. NRCA, National Roadrunners Club of America, NRCA coaching certification. I'm botching it. Sorry, guys. I had gotten that in the spring, and so I had actually developed my own training plan.
Okay.
I think I titled it like highest safe mileage, like let's fucking go.
Yes,
It was
yes.
very like it was conservative, so it didn't get as high as I think some of the other people did because I couldn't get injured. I had 3 months. Like I'm like I can't teeter to the point of injury. I'm
Mhm.
going to pull back on some intensity. I'm going to pull back on some speed, but it did like really get some serious mileage in, at least for me. That then like it ultimately served me well. I PR'd at New York too, which was like,
Oh my
I was
gosh,
like,
congratulations.
yeah, thanks. I mean, I was
Excellent.
like, train for the 7, and then like you may just PR your regular marathon too.
Well, you put in some good work if you PR'd that, and then what, 2 weeks later you were ready to go?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I was way more sore from New York, certainly, than from the 7. It was a different feeling.
Well,
But
yeah, New York's got the elevation changes, and well, at least it had the crowds too. So the crowds could help get you
yeah.
to the to the finish, but oh
Yeah.
man.
Before we get to flying over to Cape Town, one thing you did mention earlier was you called David. And a lot of people, Justin was one of them. Bill Murphy was another one. You hear stories about people would call David before they sign up for the race. Is that a common thing? Like, is that part of like the whole application? You have to call him and talk to him, make sure like you could do this.
Yeah, totally. Yes, it is. I didn't happen to know David beforehand, just like called up my BFF David. I say it like that now because I feel like, when you go through that kind of thing with someone, you have a different type of relationship.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, so one of the other, things that was really validating and like kind of solidified that this is a real thing was when I signed up to get for information, it was like schedule a call, and it was David on the call. And so that's when I got into the phone with him, and I was like, okay, he seems legit. And then I was like, he may be still a smooth talker though. Like we had to, like he had the podcast, so that helped. He had Ryan Hall, he had Bex, he had Dave. Like it slowly and surely became more validated. But
Yes.
I mean, I was like a high skeptic at first.
You're making sure he wasn't one of those Irish travelers that we hear about.
It's a thing,
It is a thing, unfortunately. So, so you were just in New York. Did you like go home before going to Cape Town? How did you arrive to Cape Town? Did you go early? Did you meet the other runners? Were you talking to them on social media before? Like, hey, I'm running with you. Like, hey, Bex, my name's Hillary. I'm going to be there. Can we be friends?
I saved my fangirl moment for Bex. But yeah, so I went to New York, ran the race. Incredible day, beautiful race. Like if you can run one marathon, run New York. And then I flew home because I had to work. Honestly, the one thing about being a consultant versus having a corporate gig, you only get paid when you're actually working. I am billing my hours. I knew I was taking 2 weeks off, so I went home. I worked, but I will say, I don't think I'd been sick in almost 2 years, which is kind of miraculous because I have little kids. But after New
That's
York,
impressive.
of New York, I woke up and I was like, oh no. I'm
Oh.
feeling like right here. And I took don't do this. I took a Sudafed like allergy and half a Dayquil before the race. So I was like, maybe I would get tested. I don't know. I think Tylenol's legit. Anyway, but by the time that evening hit, after the race, we went and saw Wicked, and had this killer headache, and I was
no.
I'm going down. I know it. And so by the time I actually made it home to Bend, I was in it was like a 36-hour fever. I stayed in bed. I woke up and I took work calls off video from my bed. I'm admitting this now. Sorry, everyone. Pretty sure I don't remember what I said. Luckily I have a great team. They forgave me, but got really sick. It seemed like, oh, that's terrible. No one wants to be sick right before the 7, but honestly, it helped my taper. It made me taper. And so I basically had a very solid down week, started running a little bit, and then finally flew over to Cape Town the day before the briefing. So I was kind of again, I was working straight up to it. And for me, life was so busy. I really wasn't reaching out. I think I had reached out to a couple, Frank and a few people, but months prior, but I just am not great on social. One of the things, even in the intro, it's we don't really know much about you. It's yeah, I hadn't posted on social media for 2 years before New York. I'm not, I've been so involved in mom and brand and corporate world that it's I'm kind of reemerging into the social spaces. And so, with that, it was coming into Cape Town, it was kind of just showing up to the first day of high school.
Right.
Maybe that's a long analogy. But.
That's kind of cool.
We thought of it as the summer camp thing. Like you had mentioned it before. That's kind of what we were thinking it was like, because you're just showing up and there's all these new people. They're alone too. They're all in the same boat. Everybody's just got to make friends somewhere. And you guys got wonderful seatmates on the plane. We could talk about that after, but you guys made some awesome friends.
Yeah, no, we did. And I will say it was like that. I remember. So the first day after, I got in that night, and the first day was the race briefing. And in the morning I went for a run by myself, because I'm whatever. So I did the 6-mile beautiful loop. On the way back, I see a couple other runners, and I'm like, hey, are you guys here for the race? And it was Andrew, the Australian guy, and Santos, who's this incredible PT, and chatted them up for a little bit. Went out with some of the other runners, came back, Bex and some of the girls were together, said hi to them. I think that morning when I saw Bex at breakfast, and I kind of hobbled over, I'm like, hey, I think you're Bex. And she had just I think friended me.
You don't think you're Bex. You knew she.
Well, I knew it was Bex.
Cool, man. You gotta play it cool.
I was but I didn't want to be weird. And she was like,
I totally get it.
Yeah. You know how it was. It was just the awkward, hi, I'm not I'm not creepy. But I think we'd also hit it off because we're both moms, young little girls and all that. And so, and I mean, but even after we go into the race briefing, and, Jenny, Bex and I are sitting there in a mild panic, because as soon as we sit down, the first thing that comes out of David's mouth is so change of plans and we're going tomorrow. And everyone's just waiting for him to just kidding. And he's like, so here's why. And shows us the graph of the 6-hour window we can get in and out. And we're all just okay, planning mode. And we're asking each other questions do you have this? Do you have chapstick? What shoes are you wearing? And it was this cool moment, because I will say I'm sitting next to an Olympian and Bex Gentry. And in that moment, they had just as many panic questions as I did. And I'm like, oh, we're all in this together. This is going to be good. And I think that was kind of those first moments where I'm okay, we're all just real people. We're all real humans here. And we're going to friggin' figure this out one way or another.
That's all you guys could do. He's just throwing you right into it, David is. And there you go. We're going. It's happening.
I wasn't mad about it. I was actually really excited. I didn't have plans for the next day. Some people had I had the penguin excursion, and I'm like, dude, I hadn't even thought about anything but getting my butt here. I was probably going to sit around and stress for a day. So I was ready to go on the plane.
Good.
So you're ready to go. You're let's freaking do this, man. So you wake up early on that next day. You get on the airplane. Ben's got this Twitch live stream going on. People listening now, they know you won, but you're probably just in awe of all these superstar runners, right?
For sure.
You talked about how you want to take in all your vacations and take in the moment. What was that whole Antarctica experience like for the start of the race?
Yeah. Oh man, it was Yeah, it was beautiful. I mean, I think it was the first taste also of like just follow directions and show up and go where you're being pointed to go. And, it was a unique one because it was a different plane than that we were on. I remember like Shireen and I were sitting close to each other, a couple of the other girls. Everyone was like a little bit chatty, but you can tell everyone, like there was just so much gear.
Yeah.
We had been prepped to bring so much gear to Antarctica because if the wind changes or if the moisture increases or if anything happens, like it can go from comfortable to dangerous. Very,
wow.
very and so we were coming in and they're like, it's looking like it's going to be good weather, but we're all, I will honestly now say, way over prepared for the weather that we actually got.
Mm-hmm.
We land the plane, and as we start getting off, it is just the most gorgeous desert landscape, as you can imagine. If you've seen the pictures, like go look them up. It's worthwhile. And I think it was just like in awe, like, okay, we're doing this. Like this is a real thing. And you jump down onto this little like car sled thing, and they transport us to this area, like these little tents that on the inside are just luxurious, beautiful, kind of like Scandinavian wood, metals, furs, super hot inside of them, like roaring fires, like I was like, this is kind of bougie. I wish we could get in here. And they're like, we spent 10 minutes because we had to get in and get out. And so dropped all of our gear, go to the start line. Everyone's amped. And I'm standing there and I'm like, I'm already hot. I was like, I'm taking off the top layer. Like took off the shell. I still had base layer, pants, mid layer on top. Mm-hmm. And I had, gloves and all, that kind of things. And I took off my hat. I still was wearing a headband, but it was sunny. We got epic weather. I actually ended up asking one of the staff later about, was this like unusual or is this something that happens here? And they're like, this morning, I kid you not, I woke up to my tent shaking so bad. I was like, there's no way they're landing the plane today.
Oh, wow.
And he's like, and then 3 hours later, crystal clear, beautiful, sunny. He's like, they know what they're doing. They have all the maps, and he was getting into the technicalities of it. But like, we really, really were fortunate in the weather that we got. And the course itself was great. They made it, I think they ended up making it 4 loops. So it was a little bit closer so they could keep eyes on us. Mm-hmm. It was groomed. You can only stay on where they like ran the tracks.
Yeah.
Because if you step off, it's a glacier. They're like, if it's blue, you will fall. Don't try it. And so you're navigating through this, looped course that is the first quarter is climbing deceivingly. Like you can't tell you're climbing. You're like, why does this feel hard? And then all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, we were climbing that whole time. You come down the other side, you see these like rock spires in the distance. And then about a quarter of it also was just like this mushy snow, which kind of sucked. It was, where you lose your footing. It was way more like trail running. You'd have to like really watch where you stepped. I feel like because I'm from Bend, part of me was like, no big deal. Like, this is fun. Like, let's play.
And so that's the good mindset. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, there's nothing I'm going to be upset about during that race. You could have like hurled me over, like there were bathroom issues. We can get into that. I think they already talked to you about some of those.
Tinkle pot. We heard about the tinkle pot.
The tinkle pot. Yeah. We did not use the tinkle pot.
Yeah.
I will say.
I feel like that's a missed opportunity.
Eric took care of it. Remember?
I would have done exactly what he did. I'd be like, you know what? I need to use this, and I need to take a picture.
Please take a picture of me taking a dump out in the middle of nowhere.
Like, back at the end and just like.
So I appreciate him for that.
We had enough of those moments. Like there were many more ahead. But I will say, when after like asking so many times of like where and getting misdirected twice.
Oh.
You were yelling, right? There's not great acoustics, and people have hats and stuff on, so they can't hear you. Right. And I remember after the race, one of the guys, Ross, was like, yeah, man, we saw you cruising through that second lap, coming towards the finish. And we're like, damn, these girls are picking it up. And then we realized you were like, went off course, and we're like, where are they going? It's the fastest we've seen anybody run all day. You're lining it to that bathroom.
Yeah, you guys had to do what you had to do.
I mean, it's a couple minutes off your time, but whatever.
I mean, obviously. When you
still crushed it.
Yeah, you guys were going at a pretty fast clip, and what's a couple minutes to just enjoy the extra time in Antarctica?
Yeah, exactly.
What was your expectation going into that race? Were you expecting to still run like your normal paces that you've been training with, or had no expectations because it's Antarctica and the elements?
100%. No expectations. Actually, for like all of these races. I mean, because it's like I didn't know what my body could pace day after day after day at that volume. I mean, you're talking about, I've never gone over a 110-mile week. It was 184 plus miles.
Not a big deal.
But the way that I went into it was really like, how do I want to be today?
Yeah.
And run within yourself, save something, and it was more about like, and I had gone through this whole list of like, what are all the things that can go wrong? And I knew what I was going to do when those things happened. Cause it wasn't if they happen, like, what if I don't want to be like, if I need to use the bathroom, what happens? If I have to, if I hurt myself, if I'm not feeling good, if I'm throwing up, all these things, like having that mental preparation was huge. Cause then when the things did happen, it's like, okay, it's happening. Now we deal with it and move on.
Yeah.
And that just like protects the mindset of being able to be like joyful and playful with it. And I mean, it wasn't all roses every race, but I mean, like, again, you're in Antarctica. If you're not having fun, that's a missed opportunity to just enjoy one of the most special places that like most people in the world will never get to go to. Like it is such an incredible privilege. So yeah.
I love your mindset on this. Just, you wanted to have fun. You wanted to soak up the experience and just take a little bit of pressure off of yourself just so you weren't, stressing. Because the added stress isn't going to help you.
Yeah, you had the right approach. You for sure did.
I will say one of my favorite moments too, like there was like a lot of laughter and joy with it. And I'm running with people like Ashley and Bex were huge in this. I remember Ashley, I have this video. It's one of my favorite videos. Ashley recording herself and I'm kind of running off of her shoulder and she's talking and she's realizing she can't talk because her lips are frozen.
Oh,
it looks like she has Botox or something. And then I start trying to talk and mine were sticking to my teeth because everything was freezing. And it was just one of those moments like, oh my God, you just got to laugh. Like only here, you're like freezing to your lips. So it feels like you have Botox or something and like getting these incredibly bad blisters. But, it made it fun, made for some really, really good memories.
I was just going to say, you mentioned that your lips were freezing. I wonder how I would do in that situation because I have incredibly sensitive teeth. Like I probably would have been miserable. Just like cold wind or anything, you go, yeah, oh my gosh, I can't even picture how I
Well,
would
one day you're going to have to find out.
Yeah.
Pam first.
You're going to have to find out. We'll get Pam in first and then you, Erica.
Yeah. She can vet everything again.
But yeah, you had a great experience in Antarctica. I'm so happy that you took it all in. You're the moment's kind of person. And then from what I heard was everyone flew back and basically took an aisle. Maybe some people slept on the floor and you had Cape Town the next day. Did you get any rest? What was that transition like going from cold to hot, no sleep? It's your first time. What are you doing to like fuel up and everything? And how'd that go?
Yeah, you reminded me. I forgot we slept on the floor of the plane. So on the way down was when we slept on the floor. I think Bex and I had like the back of the plane was totally empty, and so it's like we just like nestled in, and you could just see each other under the seats, like rode up. I think somebody got a great picture of that trying to sleep. On the way back, we got lucky enough that they place people on the plane based on weight. So that it's calibrated. So when you land in Antarctica, you can have a smooth landing.
Oh.
Well, when we took off, it just so happened that most of the men were heavier than the women. So all the men were sitting in first class, which I think we had which no one realized at first. And then we're like, wait, they have these nice luxe seats. They can recline. They also got different service. And
How rude.
One of the guys came out on the way back and was like, I'm not taking that seat. Like he was like trying to give it to one of the girls. And we're all like, no. And then eventually David, the director, he's like, girls, everyone go up. All the guys are coming back. Like he basically swapped everything out, which is very sweet. So on the way back, we actually had a little bit more rest, which is great.
Nice.
It did affect the takeoff. We had a really rough takeoff. We bounced a little bit, but it was fine. So yeah, you're reminding me of all these things. And then we had probably 2 hours of sleep, once we got back, maybe 4, I don't even know. It's all a blur at that point. And then going downstairs the next morning, starting to run into people. And we're like, okay, next up, Cape Town.
Mm-hmm.
And, I think that's where we started getting into the motion of things a little bit. That was a really special race because we all our legs it was the first day of a marathon of feeling like what your legs feel like afterwards. It was also the only one that really had hills and really had anything technical. So I think like if you had any more muscle fatigue, it was during that day than some of the later races, which were more flat. But we all just kind of like decided like, let's hang out today, especially because after that first race, like, we all finished so close, especially like we're like, oh, we could run more of this together. And none of us were, I think, really feeling like we're in it to prove something. And there's so many, like, why not? And I think there were 7 of us that day. David ended up like hanging out with us after a while. Jer, this lovely man from Ireland, also came and like ran with us. And that was like definitely solidifying because there's a lot of fun conversation and this huge bond, and where we all like ran through the finish that first time together, which was
one of the coolest things that we got to see. We loved watching the live stream. We were glued to it like the whole time. I mean, just seeing all of you, we started calling you the Fab Five, at least the women. So you guys were just so like, it was so nice to see that, just the camaraderie and the friendship that was being built. It was just awesome to watch from afar.
And that was unplanned, right? Because you didn't do that in Antarctica. I know you kind of were close to each other because you and Bex after the whole Tinkle Pot deal. But in Cape Town, at what point of that race did that actually come together? Because it was pretty early, and from what I heard it was Ashley who kind of like huddled everyone together.
Yeah. I think Ashley, we kind of started off all together. I think we're all just like, we knew we could hang for a little bit. And I don't think anybody was in a rush on that day. And it was funny because when Ashley finished in Antarctica, she was like, oh my God, you were right behind me. I would have waited for you. And I was like, you don't need to wait for me. I was like, and Bex was right behind me, cause it's like, it's just, and we had different issues and Bex was like, go. And when we had to go to the bathroom, I was like, Ashley, go. Like, we didn't have to wait. And I think there's respect there. And there was never hard feelings. If somebody wants to go, like, go. And it's like, this is part of the culture. But I think there was something really cool, when Ashley was like, what if we just did it together today? And I was like, sure, I'm down. Like, let's roll with it. Let's see how the day holds. And I think it was, and there was always the agreement that like, if you're feeling good and you want to, like, go. But I think there was this cool, just like mutual respect and maybe ease that formed a really tight bond. And throughout the different races, there were points where like people weren't feeling good and and really needed that. And I think it was a really cool, I don't think any of us would have run the overall average paces that we did without the amount of running we did together and collectively.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I
think there was something about that, like, it's almost like the safety in the pack and just to move through it.
Yeah.
Versus pulling back and just, suffering in silence solo, which we're all very used to in our running. But
Absolutely.
It's one thing to do that on a really fast race when you're driving and you get to recover. But when you're not sleeping, when you have stomach issues, when you're dealing with all these other elements, there's something that is like, there's a power in the connection and the relationships that can really move you forward.
Mm-hmm. Well, something I've said a few times this past year is, as amazing as this running community is, it can also be a very lonely sport, especially endurance training. I've done the Ironmans, less marathons than Erica, but I trained for a marathon this year. And the training and the race to me was so lonely, where I like doing some of the smaller races because you're with everybody, whether it's we did the 10-miler race this year was awesome. Or the race up Mount Washington was amazing because you're surrounded by all these amazing people. And I love that you love to take in moments. You ran all these races together after Cape Town, and you got to take in those moments versus just like getting through every marathon and going through that lonely struggle. Instead, the 5 of you and many others at times joined together and made it such an enjoyable experience. Where now maybe you want to go back.
Oh yeah. I mean, that's like, you really get to know each other too. Cause I'll say, one thing, sometimes it was just quiet, or sometimes we threw in headphones and just ran together, depending on where people are at, what race it was, how people are feeling. But sometimes we chatted. I mean, you're working with, these like pros that all their average paces of like the other 4 girls, I think they're not average. Their PR marathons are like in the 2:30s. And we're running like 3:20s, or 3:15s or 3:10s or 3s. Like, everyone can talk.
Yeah.
And if you have like Bex or Ashley who do this professionally, they talk and run professionally, there's a lot of conversation happening. So like you're getting to know people at a very deep level and their families and all these things. And so like, yeah, what an incredible experience. And I totally agree. And I think so much of our running, and even though like Ashley and Bex do that professionally, still a lot of their training is solo.
Mm-hmm.
And there was something just really encouraging and special about that experience to be able to share so many miles with people.
I love how with the running community, the people that you choose to run with, they learn so much about you because no topic is off limits. And that's how our podcast was formed, because we talk about all the shitty things that can happen to you on the runs. And and yeah, so that it does like solidify a friendship.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, let's move on to maybe what I think is one of the coolest parts of this race. And if I ever go to support, well, I guess I can't support, so I guess I'll have to work. So David, you can hire me to work somehow. But this airplane looks so freaking cool. We're watching a live stream. I'm so happy that Ben did a lot of the behind the scenes too, right? And so I'm watching. You're walking up the stairs to get on the airplane, and then these seats look amazing, and everyone has their seat mates, or you call them romies. So who is your roamie, and what was plane life like for you?
Yeah, so it was Shireen and I, and then Bex and Ash were right behind us, and Jenny was across the aisle. And oh man, yeah. So the plane was Lux. My seat didn't recline all the way, which I'll complain about. But it was like just this much difference than everyone else's. But when you're like desperate for sleep, I'm like, I'm so long. I'm like, this doesn't quite work. No, but it was like, honestly, like no complaints. It was the Rolling Stones last tour. They used that plane type thing. So it was nice. And the staff was incredible. I mean, they were so patient with us. We were constantly in the way, making a friggin' mess out of things, bags, like shoes, gear, food, boots, recovery boots are everywhere. Like it was a hot mess, and they were so gracious. And it was just one of those like interesting where everyone is just kind of in this phase, like haze of what do I need next, right? Like food, nutrition, boots now, brush teeth. Like, you're always kind of working within like how many more hours until we run again? Because you're trying to balance nutrition, sleep, etc. Right. But it made it really fun. And I think that's where like Shireen and I were able to like, have a lot more just like these kind of delirious, silly conversations as we're, in our recovery boots, like feet propped up, half laid back, like food on our stomachs. We have some cute sleeping pictures of everyone just totally passed out. So yeah, it's like, that's the real summer camp experience, right? When you're sleeping next to people constantly. It was a giant sleepover for 7 days.
Oh man, that must be some real logistics on that side. Just trying to figure out how best to fuel your body, when to rest, how to prep your muscles for the next race. How easy was that for you, or was that actually a challenge?
Yeah, definitely a challenge. I'm not a great sleeper. Some people can sleep anywhere, and that's like not my strength.
I am with you on that, especially on planes, but I have a different fear, and I'll tell the podcast again. I have an irrational fear of letting a fart loose during like sleeping, and that's like I am terrified of doing that around people. So I will be like 45 hours awake and like not sleep just because I am afraid of doing that. So
oh my gosh,
different reasons for you guys.
You'll probably, when you do the race, you will probably
you say when.
Somebody else doing it. You'll be like, it's going to happen. All bets are off.
As long as I'm not the only one, though, that would be fine. No. But oh god, that's like terrible. I feel
like there were different pockets where people were having issues, but it wasn't terrible. I wasn't terrible. There was good ventilation and stuff on the plane.
Good.
Like, yeah, that was tough. I will say, yeah, sleeping was hard. But I like some people who were like measuring. They're like, oh, I checked my recovery score. I'm like, why?
Oh,
Bill, why did you do it, Bill?
Well, I mean, like each their own. Some people like the data. I let my Oura Ring die day one. I haven't charged it. I'm literally just like, need to put it on a charger. I have a charger for it. I'm like literally taking it off, so I do it tonight. But I didn't want to know because for me, it's like, I don't need to get that information in my head. I know I'm not sleeping well. I know I'm not recovering great. I don't need to know what my numbers are. Like, I'm just going to show up.
It's not going to help you. What is it going to serve?
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be more cool to look at those numbers after.
Well, basically, Bill's watch just told him he was like dead the whole time. He's like, your body battery is -50. It's not going back up.
Literally, in my normal training cycle, my watches are always telling me I'm like, overexerting. And I'm not, I'm also like not great about wearing my watch all the time. I don't wear my watch all the time. I really only wear it when I'm ready. So it's not getting the full picture. And I just tell myself that's why it's okay.
There you go.
Well, speaking of pictures, there's a picture I think you need to, I don't know, purchase or ask Dave for, or just print somehow and get this blown up
Which one?
in your house.
Oh, yeah.
Right here.
That's epic.
Perth, Australia. Look at the for you on that. It looks like a beautiful track or a beautiful like bike lane thing. The sun's setting, I think, not rising. I think it's setting.
Is that Perth?
Setting. Yeah, it's Perth.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, Perth was really freaking cool. I think that was actually one of my favorite races. I like the course wasn't. It was short. Like there were so many laps. God, I think it was like 18 or 20 or something like that. But it was nice because it was that track, the whole surface, and it was over sunset. It wasn't too hot. It cooled down, and the Australians are so much fun. Like the Irish are incredible, and that whole staff and the crew that was on the race like made it a friggin' blast. Their humor is like unparalleled. But I will say, of all the host countries, like the Australians, they got on the bus and like pumped us up as soon as we pulled in, and they made sure we said everything. They were just so hospitable. So that was a magical race. Yeah, I need to print some of those pictures. That's good.
Yeah,
that's definitely an epic one. That one needs to go like above your mantle. Like
that's a frame it photo.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's a frame it photo. Get all the girls to sign it for you. Or get two, get one unsigned, print a bunch and just you all sign them and then share them with each other.
Yeah. Well, you're making me realize I just missed out on a good Christmas present opportunity, but
I was going to say, or they can just get together again, hang out, which they should do anyways, and then they can sign the pictures.
Do your own like Fab Five podcast or travel the country and just do races or fun. Show up unannounced.
Yeah. There will be reunions. There's things in the works. We're going to do something.
Love it. So Australia was amazing. The people were great. And then I think you ran into the next day some unhappy fishermen. Tell us about Istanbul, Asia, and Istanbul, Europe. And I know I'm not saying it right, Erica, but whatever.
It's a common occurrence on our podcast, but we love them for it.
It's okay. We can say it however we need to say it. Yes. Oh, man. So Istanbul, I can't even remember which side was which. The first one. Was that Asia?
I honestly don't even know.
I thought it was supposed to be like Asia but then they switched it.
I'm permanently confused. I think I wore the wrong bib for it even, so I don't know which I was on. The first Istanbul race was brutal weather. From the sense of it was like spitting rain. Like it wasn't just like drizzling. It was the kind of rain that is like you're getting sprayed with a spray bottle in your face. Because there was also wind. And so on the way out, you would get just sprayed on. And on the way back, it was a little bit better because it'd be, against your back, but like just kind of rain misery. Granted, I grew up in the Northwest, so I might have had a little more experience running in really like crappy weather like that. So part of me was like, let's get this done. I was happy to just move on that race.
Yes.
The fishermen, coming from Australia with the most like joyful crew welcoming us in and coming to Turkey, I will say there was a little bit different. There was definitely a culture shock of very different, formal, kind of like poised welcome. And we ran onto a course where people are trying to do their daily lives, which included fishing at 9 p.m. God knows why, in the rain, in this terrible weather. But they're like, tried to tape him off they tried to get him off course. They tried to tape him off, but I'm like, are we going to get hooked? and they're blowing these really loud whistles, trying to be nice, but it was like literally right in our ear. At one point, I actually said to one, I was like, please stop. That's really loud. So it was just, it was a little bit tough. I'm sorry. Actually, you will never guess it. If you can hear my text, that's Bex.
Yeah, we can read them too. We're getting all
Bex
the.
and Ashley.
I'm just kidding.
Bex and Ashley are texting me. I'm like,
Tell them we say hello.
Bex and Ash, there's loud dinging noise in our ear.
Quit it.
You can tell them to go back and just click the link from the last invite if they want.
Yeah,
tell them to jump in.
Like, we're just talking about you. So so that was brutal, but
I might leave that in. That was great.
Yeah, you can leave it. Anyway.
So then Istanbul, the second day, went better.
Yeah, and I mean the first one actually was fine. I think I ran well that day. And then on the I feel like that was like the one race I won. Oh, you know what? You know why though? So we're running together.
Mm-hmm.
Like some stomach issues started happening. So Shireen and Bex decided to pull back. Ashley and I are cruising and we're just like getting this done. It happened to be Ashley and Maddie's anniversary.
Yes.
And so at midnight, we're cruising along and in the distance, all of a sudden I see this, what I think is a naked man. I was like, oh my God, what is happening in Turkey right now? I realize it's Maddie. So then I'm like extra like, wait, what? And he's wearing a nude Speedo or some, I don't even know what, dancing for Ashley.
Oh my God.
And so I'm cracking up. I slow down to stop, but I'm like, this is too weird of a moment for me to be a part of. So I kind of keep going and I'm like waiting to see it. And they end up she stopped, they talked, they hugged for a minute. And I know I'm finishing. That's the only reason why I got ahead of Ash on that one. But I was like, thanks, Maddie, for distracting your wife. But so yeah, that was a little bit of midnight chaos and show in Turkey.
You got a little bit of it all.
Yep.
Yeah, you never know what you're going to get. Some getting hooked by fishermen or some half naked guys dancing. So, but the next morning, we didn't get much sleep at all. That was the one night I don't think we ate actually, because some of the guys are like, oh, of course, guys think of this. They're like, well, yeah, we just called room service, and we're like, oh,
whoops. But yeah, you guys actually had a hotel room to stay in. But did you guys even get to rest? How much time was in between?
Not enough. I think we slept 4 hours just so we could actually eat breakfast and then get to the next one. But the next day was good. It was sunny, better weather. There were cats everywhere. They feed the cats and dogs in the streets. They put out bowls at a certain time.
Oh, that's a huge distraction for me. I wouldn't have gotten anywhere. Ooh,
it's very cute. I'm like, you just these little cats that are perched watching you go back and forth. There's some cool pictures of it. But that was a fast race. I think that was the one. Ash and I both went under 3.
Nice.
It started where Shireen was like, I'm feeling good. And I was like, okay. I think she had something, she had such a bad race the day prior. She was like, let's do this. She's like, I slept in a bed. I feel great. And so she starts cranking and I'm like, you guys go. Cause we were dropping 6:15s and it was, 6 miles in. And I was like, I'm not doing that. That's not
sustainable.
I don't need a PR during this one. And so, her and Ash push off a little bit. I think we all ended up running solo for the most part that race.
Mm-hmm.
I knew myself well enough to be like, look, I can hold a 6:44. I know that pace really well. It's a solid training pace. And I was like, then I can come into 3.
Easy
so
pace.
Not easy, but it's
I'm just kidding.
And I was like, the course is flat. I'm feeling good.
I'm impressed. I'm very impressed. 4th marathon, 6:44 pace. I'm very impressed.
Oh, thank you. I mean, it was kind of a fun challenge because it gave me something to focus on. Is what it did. Because that was the only race I was looking at my watch and the only race I was caring about pace. Every other race, I honestly can tell you, I wasn't looking at my watch, wasn't caring. But I was like, maybe we'll do 1 sub 3. If this seems like a good one, if it's going to be it.
There you go.
And so I was very proud at the end of that race. It was I don't remember what the final time was. It was under 3. And my splits were within seconds of each other. And so that was just a very gratifying race. Ash took that one. She went way under. Shireen ended up throwing up and falling back, unfortunately, but she still ran. I mean, everyone still had great times that day. So
for somebody who loves stats so much, if you like, anytime I can see consistency between my splits, it's just something so nice about it. It's, like you said, satisfying. So that's congratulations. Like that in itself is a feat, but like still going sub 3, amazing.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, it was a cool one. It was a good day.
Hillary, you got to answer a question for me. So we have talked to some of the other racers, and we got to know like kind of the sequence of events. But if you guys have to run these races and then get on a plane, do you have a chance to shower at any point, or is there a shower on the plane? Like, how are you guys?
That'd be cool.
How are you guys? How does the plane smell at this point? We're 4 days in.
Very valid question. Better than most relay cars. No, there's not a shower on the plane, but there was opportunities to shower after every race, and
That's
respectfully, everyone did. Ironically enough, the most painful one was after the second Istanbul race, because it was a local soccer club, and it happened that the setup, there was like one shower for the women's side, and since we were since we finished fast that day, I remember getting in there and I was like, oh great, there's not gonna be a line. There was no towels, no soap, and the hot water wasn't working.
No.
So I ended up going in, but I'm like, this is happening, and I need it to happen now because I was getting cold, right? Because it was pretty cold out, and you're sweaty and all that.
Yeah.
I go in, I like the paper towel dispensers that dispense this much paper at a time.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Like probably 3 minutes worth of like layering paper towels. I take the soap from the foam hand dispenser, by the sink, layering that up, cover my body in soap, rinse off as quickly as humanly possible, dry off with paper towels, and then get rest. So, later, a couple hours later, the boys were able to find they went like bought towels somewhere. So, and then somebody figured out the hot water eventually, but I just had to.
It's all part of the adventure.
Yeah.
And the journey, the story. I mean, if it all worked out perfectly, would it be that fun?
No,
honestly, that story ended a little bit better than I thought, because I thought you had chafing issues and you were just like getting under the stream and you were going to be like, oh no. So at least it's still not good, but
the chafing issues were real, but wait till Cartagena.
Oh, okay.
Okay, well let's jump on that airplane. I think you had a 16-hour flight over there, and then you walk out of that airplane in a woof of hot, warm, humid air right in your face. It's like you're swimming outside.
Disgusting. I hate it. I don't like humidity. Yeah, I mean, everyone was excited for the warmer races, and I'm like, why?
Why?
Scientifically speaking, there's no performance gains from this. It's painful. It's miserable. There's just a lot of people that I'm like, this isn't vacation. Like, yeah, sure. Like, put me in a swimsuit and like maybe I'll hang. But like,
that's a different story.
Running in the humidity, I'm not trained for that, and I knew that was going to be brutal, and it was. Yeah, it was. It was. I will say that was a day to work together. I'm really, really proud of how we ran. We ran really smart. From the get-go, especially Ashley and I think, who have, some experience, even though I may not be experienced running a lot of heat, I'm like more versed in the ultra world and like fuel early, ice. I've studied a lot of heat training because of some upcoming races that I might do. And I'm like ice in the bra, ice in the shorts, like getting your head wet. I should have braided my hair and put it in a bun. I had the terrible rat's nest of a ponytail, but it was just, it was tough. But the beautiful thing about that race is like, the four of us were like, we're fine afterwards. And that is like I can only attribute that to like smart racing. And I think that was our slowest day. I think we ran fast.
As you can imagine. Yeah. Just running in that kind of heat is just not a sustainable thing either. It just takes so much energy from you. Yeah.
Yeah. It was a grind, but you can grind together, and it was beautiful. So I will say I love Cartagena. Like we got to spend a little bit more time there. It was like the one city we got to get down to. It's super charming. I will go back just to hang out. I will not be running
It looked like you had an
That's
amazing
fair.
dinner after too. Like you all kind of got like dressed up a little bit
yeah.
for it, like summertime dress up, not fancy dress.
Yeah.
And you got to really enjoy everyone's company. It's like you almost got to slow down for a second and not
Yes,
jump on an
exactly.
airplane right away.
Yeah, we had like, it was like the biggest gap we had because we sacrificed our naps, which maybe in retrospect wasn't the right thing to do, but
It was worth it.
it was a great memory. It was a beautiful little town in the city center. We had all the like the fresh fish and some paella, which wasn't necessarily regional, but it was delicious. And yeah, it was worth every bit of the
Yeah.
sacrifice.
Yeah. Did you go swimming?
So back to the chafing.
Oh, okay.
I would have loved to get in that freaking ocean. I wore recommendation for anybody doing that race or running there, wear spandex. I only, for whatever reason, I always wear shorts, just regular shorts.
Mhm.
I did not bring spandex, and I should have for the humid races. I chafed so bad during those 2 races. And even with like, I do what I would normally do, but I'm just not used to, it wasn't just the humidity. It was the fact we were literally dumping bottles of water on ourselves.
Right.
And so you were completely soaked. Your shorts feel like a diaper, like everything's like just heavy. And it was like, for whatever reason, like the type of shorts I had chafed really bad. And once you start, it's just going to get worse.
What are you doing to like
feel ya.
recover in between the races then with these?
Chafing?
Yeah, because I have a trick. I don't know if you know it, but you do have young kids just like me.
No, I obviously need it now because you know what I was doing? I was wearing my widest leg pants and like waddling around Cartagena.
Oh,
Acting
Hillary.
like it's cool, guys. It's cool. Like like don't let the thighs touch. It was
So
miserable.
this is my code brown commandment, but the
Oh.
quickest way to cure chafing is diaper rash cream.
Oh, I wish I would have had that.
So you put it
No.
on after. You don't put it
Okay.
on before because
Yeah.
that's you don't want that. You put it on
No.
after.
I do
Then
know
you
some
lay
people
down.
who put it on during, and that's when you get like the skunk stripe, which nobody wants anyway. So
Okay.
just afterwards is the best.
I'm taking notes. Okay. Next time.
Yeah. Next time you
Seriously.
chafe, right before bed, lather that diaper rash cream on it, go to sleep. The next day, good to go.
Okay. Thank you, Eric.
Yeah.
I wish you would have told me this sooner.
Well,
If only
we
had
weren't
known
friends
you
then,
at
but
that
we are
point.
now.
I know. I'm just reliving Miami and the pain of that. But yes.
Ah,
So you bypassed a nap. At least you knew you only had one race to go. So did you get any sleep? I know you got to enjoy a nice meal, but were there any resting moments before you did Miami?
So a lot of people are great sleepers and like lay down after they ate in the hotel lobby. I could not. We had a flight from Cartagena to Miami. I slept on that flight. It was 2 hours. And I remember I woke up when we were landing, and it was the first time in the entire week that I started tearing up. And I was like, I'm not ready yet. I am not ready to get up. And it wasn't like like I'm not a big crier. Sometimes I wish I was.
Exhaustion is a crazy thing though.
It was the true, like, I was upset about it. I was upset about not being able to sleep, and I finally had fallen asleep and not being able to sleep anymore. And I was like, okay. And so with that, we get in the airport. They're trying to figure out the timing. The race start is changing. We don't have we can't check into our hotels yet. I'm just like, I don't know. At this point, I'm like, I might just like lay on the ground and like suck it up for a couple hours. And then Bex is like, I'm going to my hotel. Do you want to come? And I'm like, sure. I'll just check my bags at the front because Austin was already checked in. So,
Gotcha.
So that was helpful. We had a place. And we went, it was really nice. It was nice to have a space to there was no one up and around except for this other group of drunk Irishmen, not ours.
Oh.
Very entertaining. I was like, we just can't escape like the rowdy Irish who were just up partying at 5 a.m. in the lobby of Nobu. And we had our bags completely unpacked, throwing stuff away, reorganizing. It was just like something kind of to mentally do and prepare ourselves, got ready. and then scurried our way over to the race start, which again was changing. Like literally we were getting in real time changes. So like, where do we take our Uber to?
Oh no.
We need to show up to this in the next 15 minutes. So we made it. It was fine.
Did you know like that you were in the lead overall? Were you aware of this going on?
That's a great question. I was not paying attention to it at all, but I was made aware when we were leaving Cartagena. So I mentioned that point where like after dinner, like everyone was kind of like sleeping in the lobby, like we're waiting for our bus to pick us up. And I was sitting with Ben and Braxton and chatting, I don't know, business stuff. And then like Ben was like, "Did you know where you're ranking in this?" And I'm just like, "I don't want to know, Ben. I don't want to know. I don't need to know." I was like, "It's not about that." And he's like, "If you do this tomorrow, like you could take this." And I was like, "It's not about that, Ben." And I was like, "I don't know." I'm like, "Sure." Like this is everything had already surpassed my expectations so much that I really wasn't in it for the title. I mean, it would be icing on the cake, but it was like, okay, that's maybe motivation to hold on. But I was like, I'm already like, for me, and this actually goes back to like I mentioned that Ben marathon that was really, really tough. One of the things I had worked on so much during my training for both New York and this was mindset and thinking about like, I'm not focused on the end result of what I want this to be. I want to focus on how I want to show up and how I handle the moments when I'm hurting. And that's really where I was at. I'm just like, and what will be. Because the thing is, like, especially at that point, I'm like, I could have something hurt tomorrow. I could start running and have be like Ashley and not be able to freaking walk. And if I'm like Ashley and not walking, I'm not running a 3:30 marathon. Like she is like a different kind of superhuman. So I didn't want to like over rev myself. I'm like, well, then now that's the goal. Like the goal was still show up with everything you have and give the day what it has and what it holds for you. And so that made it a little bit easier because also I felt like crap. That was the first race that I'd say even though Cartagena was hard, it still was like joyful. Miami was like, there were bits of joy, but there was a lot more suffering than any of the other races for me, for sure.
Well, what we could see on that live stream, you were running with Bex for most of it. And the two of you just like, you were so focused and dialed in. Like you couldn't tell how much agony you guys were in between being in like the full sun, the heat, just being exhausted. Like you guys just looked focused and ready to finish the damn thing.
Yeah. I think that's well put. That's probably, I think in the other races, we were smiling a lot more. I know I was smiling a lot more. I was cheery. I was like interacting with like the live stream, that kind of thing. In Miami, I was like grind. I was like, at one point I needed sunglasses, like the sun actually kind of stuck. I had lost my sunglasses and I like turned down a pair stupidly at the beginning. And then at one point I got like kind of emotional. I was like, somebody get me sunglasses. And luckily like one of the like Bex Beast crew, like somebody handed me a pair and then, another one ran out to me. And so I wore them during the end because it's also like, and Bex is smart about this. And I've used this, but not as frequently. And now I will, especially going to races like that. It's like one, the fatigue on your eyes in the sun is real, but they're also like a shield. Like when you're feeling emotional, it is like, I can protect myself and this is like where I can stay and no one has to know what's going on behind here. And so I was like, I think that's part of why I needed the sunglasses.
There you go. Yep.
So you can see the dead behind my eyes.
Well, I don't see any dead in that photo right there.
That's because of the sunglasses. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Yep. That's an amazing photo. That's another one you got to print.
Yeah.
You got to not just print it, Hillary. You got to frame it.
Somebody's got to make you like a book with all of these. Keep it on your coffee table.
Cool. That would be really cool.
In college, I had a table, and it was this old table. So instead of buying like a, as I'm trying to find my mouse to stop sharing the screen, instead of buying like a nice tablecloth, I bought a clear one, and we took a bunch of photos from college, from like ski trips and camping or whatever, all our drinking parties and everything at Plymouth State. It was a fun time. That's where Erica and I met. We went to college together. And so we put all the photos on the table and then we put the clear tablecloth on top of it and like kind of heated it a little bit so it wouldn't move and everything stayed still. That's what we did. That's a cool, fun little thing. Maybe not on your dining table, but
it's gonna be right
in
here.
the downstairs in the Hillary cave, as we'll call it.
I don't have a Hillary cave. I do have there's a part of my garage that's like my cave. It's like my bike, my tread, paddleboard, snowboard, and all my shoes.
You live a cool life. Paddleboard, snowboard, running the world. You're a snowboarder, not a skier.
I say that almost like regrettably. I wish I was a skier at this phase of my life, and I'm not good at either. But I live in a mountain town. You got to get up sometimes.
Yeah.
I'll cross country ski. Cross country skiing is my next thing. Skate skiing is my next thing.
There you go.
Adventure's in your blood, though. You just strive for adventure and some cool shit. That's all I can say.
I'm all about it.
Well, besides showing up to the Peloton studios one day to run with us there, when we hopefully can like rent out the whole studio, and that's really something I want to do. So Bex, like, look for that email in about 6 months to hopefully do something about 6 months later. Actually, Erica, you were supposed to do the Bex run that you what would I call it? You had to back out on.
Couldn't
and
really
Hillary was
afford
there
to go to at the time. Yeah,
it was you.
December 14th. I was supposed to be. I'm so happy you got my spot.
Thank you.
I think you might have gotten her spot actually, Hillary, because she backed out like 2 days before.
No, well, it was a little bit before that, but like I gave him like a week's notice, but it was just so expensive to go in the city during like Christmas time. I was like,
It was
so
stupid.
I'm so glad you got to enjoy it, and you got a 60-minute Bex class, which is like perfect. So maybe we can do like get her to do another 90-minute or a 120-minute. And
oh my gosh,
get our long
120.
runs in.
We should request a long one. Let's just grind.
Let's do it. But what I was I'm down. I'll train for the 120. But what I was leading to, Hillary, was what's next? What's next for Hillary Kupish? Oh my God, I said it wrong. Kupish.
Oh my God.
Kupish.
Kupish. I had it.
You had it at the start. It's okay. I'll give it to you. What is next? Next up on February 8th, I think it is, Black Canyons, 100K. So I'm returning to the trails. It's going to be, 100K grueling down in Arizona. I'm really excited for it. I love being outside. I love the trails. I'm not trained properly for it. I'll be completely honest. But I'm really looking forward to being out there. It's also, I'm pretty sure it's going to be a very stacked field. It's a golden ticket race. And there's going to be a lot of talent out there. So I'm just kind of going to be like bowing down to some greatness around me and seeing it where I can keep up. But
well, don't sell yourself short though, because you are amazing. Just one thing, if you're anything like me, just watch where your feet go, because trails, God, they hurt me. They don't like me very much at all. So
I'll fall at least once. That always is guaranteed. Any
pick
trail
yourself back up and just keep going.
Yeah, we keep moving. And that's where actually Ashley is going to come down. So we will have at least a mini reunion.
Yes.
I texted Bex and Shireen this morning about this, and I have to shoot Jenny one too. But I'm trying to recruit even if they're not running it, just like come and hang out for the weekend.
There you go. That'll be amazing.
You guys are invited too. Come join us.
We'll bring microphones.
Perfect. You can be all on it together.
Well, Ashley mentioned, and I know she was joking, but like we always said, this is like, a podcast where we envision people sitting around the campfire, chatting, getting to know each other. And I was like, actually, let's all go to Utah, sit around the campfire at her place, and just talk, but we'll have microphones on.
See, I'll go run that race with you guys. I'll bring up the rear. You guys can just like make one of those like tunnels that I run through when I finish. I'll be like the DFL. Like,
well, there's also a 50K. It's on Sunday. So I'm running the 50K on Saturday. There's a 50K on Sunday. The 50K is still open.
I'm selling it.
Erica, you have you have no other commitments. You don't have kids you have to stay home for. You just have cats you need to get fed.
The tickets are cheap. And the hotels are pretty good. You got to crew you. I will crew you.
Erica, I won't even make you take content. Just go and have fun.
Yes, you will. You're full of shit. Okay. I will look into this. This does sound pretty fun, but do not count on me. You go have fun with Ashley at the very least.
Well, Hillary, you're amazing. You've been extremely gracious with your time. We're at an hour and a half now, but we have 2 more questions. And as I hinted in the email, we don't ask those hard questions, but one of these last questions sometimes is a really hard question. I'm going to let Erica go first with hers, and then I'll ask you mine.
Okay. All right. So I think he prepped you. So we have this awesome Spotify playlist, and we like to invite our guests to add a song to it. So it could be anything that you're feeling at the moment. I don't even know if you listen to music while you run, but just something that pumps you up, gets you motivated. Would you like to add a song?
Yes. I'm gonna have to send you the artist because I actually don't remember the artist.
Sure.
But it's on it's YSL. It's a good jam.
I will check it out.
Yeah, that's the name of the song, YSL.
You Saint Laurent?
Yeah, exactly. It's a little bit spicy. It's a good rhythm. I think a lot of my music right now is a little bit lower RPM and just kind of
something to grind to, right?
Yeah, it's a good one.
Excellent. We will add that to the playlist. I'm gonna look it up right after we chat. So I will put it right on there.
It's a good warm-up song. Like move the hips to it.
Oh, nice.
It's all
now,
in the hips.
My question is, I change mine up every year, and this is dropping in 2025. So all of our 2025 guests on the podcast are welcome to come to our, imaginary on the runs pasta dinner at the end of the year. And every one of you gets to bring a +1. They can be anyone, someone from the running community, a running coach, maybe a friend, a family member, alive or dead, famous, whoever you want. Who is your +1 to our on the runs pasta dinner?
I was prepped to this question and I didn't think of an answer. I'm going to go with my gut on this. And I'm going to have to say it's going to have to be like a +1.5 because I'd want to bring my kids.
All right, roll out for the children. Yes.
They're small. They'll share a plate. They don't
Yes.
They're little. And I mean, honestly, my first response in my mind is like Seneca, like maybe a Stoic. I don't know. And like the reality is, I would want them there. I think like them being able to be a part of like all the incredible people that I know you guys would bring to the table. Like what a gift to be able to pass on that type of like passion and people and experiences. Yeah, for sure.
That is a great answer.
Like, we're kind of little badasses. Like, excuse my language.
It's going to be a great list this year. It's going to be a great list. It's early in the year, but we're starting off strong.
Yeah. What are their names?
Arlo Dove, she's 3, and Ezra Jude, he's 6.
Oh my God, I love it.
Yeah, they're great.
Arlo Dove.
3 and 6. I know where you are right now. I know exactly where you are in the life of children because I'm right there with you.
Yeah, we're deep in it. High five.
Yes.
Moral support.
Erica, anything you want to say before we send her off to dinner time?
I just want to say thank you for your time again. You are so wonderful. Congratulations on this excellent feat that you pulled off. You had amazing company, and I'm so glad that you guys all got to connect and made these lasting friendships. I think it's just so beautiful to see, especially in all those pictures that Eric was showing. So just congratulations again. I hope 2025 treats you well and that you get to do more epic shit because you were cut out for it. And just, I don't know, keep in touch.
Yeah, for sure. No, thank you so much. Honestly, you guys have been a joy to talk to. It's been a privilege. So grateful for the experience. It's been wild. And I'm hoping to see you out at Black Canyon.
Yes.
I gotta go now.
Make it happen, Erica. Make it happen. Guys, that was awesome. I really hope you enjoyed this one with Hillary. So cool that she just takes in all the moments. She wasn't expecting anything, and she won the whole freaking thing, and she got to meet her heroes. And as Erica said before, when we had some other people, when we had Bex on, meet your heroes because they're awesome people. Mm-hmm. And that's what she got to experience. And now they're texting her during the podcast. It's like, what's this loud dinging in my ears? It's so cool. Our PodFam is amazing. Hillary, welcome to the PodFam. Thank you so much, guys. I hope you enjoyed it because it was wicked awesome. Hillary Kupish on the On the Runs podcast.
Thanks so much, you guys. You're amazing.
Hillary, oh my gosh, we are so So happy that you shared your time with us and shared all of those amazing stories. Congratulations once again on that epic overall win for the Great World Race.
The winner.
You're just fantastic. This is so cool.
Winner, chicken dinner. Oh my God. She's so cool. Like, she lives in Bend, Oregon, and researching Bend. She does all this type of stuff that we love to do. Well, maybe you don't hike much. She loves to do the hiking and the trail running. You're figuring the trail running out, but she does all those like outdoor adventure fun things. She's not just like strictly running. She has fun. Goes skiing and snowboarding, hiking big mountains. She's going out in all the weather.
That's perfect. It's cross training too.
It is, and that's how you win the Great World Race.
Exactly.
Be a great overall athlete.
Nailed it.
And you know what? You know how else you win?
What?
By strength training. And let me ask you this: are you doing the Bex Gentry push-up challenge?
I am not doing Bex's challenge, although I should. But I'm worried it's going to mess up what KJ has been giving.
It's just push-ups a couple a day.
Oh,
just a couple a day for a month.
You don't understand.
I'm doing it. I'm loving it.
You don't understand how out of shape I am with my upper body. I
Push-ups,
swear the
baby.
The first
Bex is getting you to do it. Let's do it. Catch up.
The first 5, I swear, would make me sore, and then the next day would probably break my arms.
You just got to do it. You just got to do it. Just keep going.
All right, what day
more
are
every
you
day.
on? What are you up to? How many?
Today, the day we're
12?
recording is 12, and the day this drops
13,
is
14.
13.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? I'm gonna modify. So I've been doing push-ups.
Yeah.
But when I have the space, I'm changing it to burpees. Because you're like, dude, what? No.
That's actually smart. Okay.
Remember when we had Rory on and he did the burpee challenge? Like crazy amount of burpees. I just really want to do more burpees. I know that's crazy, but I love the whole, get up, get down, and just I feel like I want to upgrade to burpees. That's what I want to do.
Sure.
I can do
a good upgrade.
12 burpees today.
Are you going to want to do 30?
Well, yes, I'm going to want to do it. I want to get stronger. Strength train. It's winter time. Yes.
You're not doing like Rory counts like 200 burpees. You're doing like end of the month will be like 30 something. So
well, you know what I'm going to do? And these won't be burpees. I'll do actual push-ups. But when I go skiing, I'm going to take a video because Bex Beast people have been doing these and taking videos and Bex is sharing it. I'm going to do one at the top of the mountain.
See, all right, that's cool. Yeah, you got to get your your awesome scenery, and why not do some push-ups / burpees at the same time?
Yeah, but I've been doing it. I thought you would do it because you're a Bex Beast, but I guess not. You're not a push-up girl.
I'm really not a push-up girl. I want to be a push-up girl, but but I am sticking with all of my runs and my prescribed strength training. So I'm still doing stuff. Gotta be proud of me for that.
Yeah, you're kicking ass with KJ. You're kicking ass.
Yeah. But dude, what are you going to do when you make it out to Sweden for your business trip soon?
What do you mean, like working out?
Yeah. Are you going to go explore? Like, are you going to try to get any runs in? Like,
well, it's going to be cold.
Yeah.
It's going to be cold and dark. I don't know if I'll get outdoor runs in, but I am going to work out. Hotel gym. I actually get to work out a little more strength train wise when I travel. So I'll take advantage. I'm hoping to go to a hockey game. There is
no way.
Yeah, and it's supposedly a wicked cool atmosphere, totally different than here in the States, right? In Canada.
How could it be
totally
different? Like what do they do?
It's like
what's different about
there's standing room only, and there's chanting, and there's like, everyone knows the chants, and you have to get involved, and you're encouraged to sing songs and try to intimidate the other team and all that, and at the end of the game, they do this, like, they all come back on the ice, and they do, if I go, I'll take videos. There is a team dinner planned that night of the game, and I think I can go to team dinners. I go to team dinners all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I want to go to a hockey game in Sweden. Yeah.
I bet you could get some of your coworkers to go with.
Oh, no, one's going to take me. Two of us there's already 3 of us committed.
Perfect.
It's just like, we got to get out of this dinner thing. So it is going to be cold
that day.
Yeah, I will get. So I planned my flights. My boss was trying to get me to fly with him on like an early 7 a.m. flight. I actually planned differently. I don't know if we already talked about this, but I'm leaving.
I think we did a little bit. But
I'm leaving Sunday night at 10 p.m. and I'm getting to Sweden at 2 in the afternoon, Sweden time. So I'm going to have that whole afternoon an evening to relax and settle in. Where
Exactly.
my boss who's going is like, let's leave at 7 a.m. and he gets there at midnight. And I'm like, dude, I don't want to do that because then we got to get up in 8 hours for work. And you're landing at midnight Sweden time. He goes, well, dude, it's 6 o'clock. I'm like, but dude, we're getting up in 8 hours.
It doesn't matter what time it actually is or what time we're used to.
Yeah. I'm excited like every time for work trips. I like going and traveling and seeing new places. This one, I'll be there Sunday to Saturday. So a whole week about. And, I'll try to get some workouts in. Remember in Tucson, I did really good at working out the first 4 days of that 9-day trip, but the last 5 days of it was so hot and I just didn't. I spent a lot of time.
This is going to be the complete opposite. You're going to be like, yeah, let's go do stuff. And then the last few, you're going to be like, it's so cold. But I won't blame you. You won't get any shit from me because I hate being cold. So dude, did you see the other day that I was mentioned in a Chad Ultra video on Instagram?
No. Ultra Chad?
Chad Ultra.
No, it's Ultra Chad. Sticking with it.
I'm sticking.
My arch nemesis, as he says.
No. I'm on his good side, so he's Chad Ultra to me. So he was saying something that there is a 100-mile race in Oregon that apparently does not have any female finishers. And he said, ever. I mean, I think it's only been out for a year, but
okay,
it had its inaugural year. But he wants to sponsor somebody, a woman, a strong, independent woman, to go run it and see if they can finally get some finishers.
You could be Miss Independent. Kelly Clarkson.
Which is a great song, by the way. I love Kelly Clarkson. But Chad, if you're listening, I am not going to be the one to take you up on this offer, unfortunately. That race is sandwiched right in between my Chicago trip and the Yeti 100. So it's like it's the week after Yeti 100, all the way across the country.
But let's think ahead. If no woman has ever finished this race, maybe no woman will finish it this year. If that's the case, would you take Chad up on this offer in 2026 and become the first female to finish the Crown Sub 100? Stub. I just read it.
Yes. All right. Thank you for saying the name. If this year is still not the year, I will go give it the old college try and see what I can do.
Yes. Now, do you think like someone's never tried it before?
It's hard to tell. I'm not sure what it is. I don't know what the DNF rate is, but I looked at the elevation profile and it's it looks like a doozy of 100. So
all right,
I'm just gonna have to.
You know who could try it since it's in Oregon, and you know who lives in Oregon?
Hillary.
Chad will sponsor you. Chad, I'll call him Chad Ultra just to get him to do it.
How's that for playing along? I love it.
That's right.
But I really hope that this is the year because, oh boy.
Yeah.
Hilly 100-milers. I'm not there yet.
And hoping maybe you'll do the Great World Race one day. Maybe you have to do that in 2026. You can't go do the Crown Stub.
Oh, man.
You could do it. You could do it. You could do it, Erica.
I probably could. But hey, next year might be the year I head out to Sydney. I'm still looking at the majors. What? So, yeah, next year.
Are you going to be 7-star Erica?
I'll be like 6 + 1 star.
Okay.
I don't know. I love 6
my kick-ass rock star of a co-host, 6 + 1 star Erica. That doesn't go well. But you know what does go well?
1 + 6 star.
6-star Erica in the Chicago Marathon because you are still fundraising. Have we hit that $5,000 yet?
Not yet. No, we're still. Well, this is only a few days since we last talked about it, so no.
Let's do it, guys. Let's hit the $5,000. Let's hit the $5,000 for Erica by the time I return from Sweden. $5,000. What's the foundation, Erica?
I'm raising money for the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, and I'll be running Chicago in honor of my younger brother, Nick.
Yes. So, and you guys are awesome who's already donated.
I love you all.
Knocked it out of the park. Hillary knocked it out of the park. This is a great freaking episode.
Bring more of the 777 contact.
They're coming. They're coming. We got at least 3 more. We haven't even scheduled just yet, so we got 4 more. We'll get many more. And we've a couple people have reached out to us and said, "Hey, I love your 777 content, and I'm doing it next year. And I'm like, yes.
Put them in the books. Put them on the calendar.
We're the official podcast of the 777. I feel like no one has talked about it more than us because it was obsessive. David. It's all
really
honestly, it's because of the live Twitch stream. That's why I'm obsessing over it. But guys, what a week. Ben. What a freaking amazing week. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram. Check out the TikTok. I actually just sent Tara Pterodactyl like 4 different videos to put up. Don't forget the Boston Run Show, March 1st and 2nd. Use that code on the runs to get your free ticket. And please use the code because it will show them that it's working and people are listening and people are using the code. And it's just gonna help this whole year and this whole thing. You guys are rock stars. Erica, take us home.
It's so cool to be back for a second episode this week. Thank you for sticking with us. Thank you for listening. We know we love you.
Don't forget to watch all these episodes on YouTube. Don't fear the code brown.
And don't forget to stretch.
3, 2, 1.
Bend, Oregon, right?
Bend, Oregon.
I'll just say what West Coast. I don't need to give all your Instagram followers.
I'm very proud of them, so you can say it. It's like when people know what it is, it's like saying Boulder, Colorado. So there is good content here.
Okay. All right, cool.